Welcome to Honest Combos with Karen
and Marcia. We're longtime biz besties bringing you along for the journey of building a business and life you actually want.
No fluff, no filters, just honest conversations about the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into it. Welcome back. We are talking all things about alignment today. This is a topic that Karen and I have touched on in a few of the past episodes, and so we wanted to dedicate an entire podcast episode about it and define what alignment is, and then also ways that we've been in and out of alignment. Yeah, we wanted to just talk about getting back into alignment if you feel like you're not currently in alignment. And I guess basically, it is a buzzword. I've been hearing it and seeing it on the social media and everything, and I think it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs talk about, but we wanted to just dedicate an entire episode to what it is.
Yes, alignment, aligned. It's one of our bingo card words. We're like, oh, there it is again. It just keeps popping up, and like Marcia said, like in business, you'll hear it a lot. Like, you have to be in alignment. You have to take aligned action. You have to do things that are in alignment. And we just thought before we say alignment 500 more times, maybe we should just take a moment to get on the same page about what that even means. Another one that comes to mind, which we'll probably have to do another episode on, is authentic. You'll hear that a lot. Be your authentic self. What does that mean? So that's kind of like the spirit of this episode. And so alignment like is not about perfection. It's not about like things having to be just right. It really is that you're doing things, you're spending your time, your energy, you're focused on stuff that matches your actual values, what you care about the most, not what anyone else cares about, not what any internet guru told you should care about, not the latest template that you just downloaded. Like you're really spending your time, your energy, your focus on what matters the most to you, what you value. And if you're not, that's where you get out of alignment. That's where you start to have problems where you're like, why isn't this working? Why isn't it happening the way I thought it would? It's usually because it's out of alignment. So yeah, so I'm glad we're talking about this today because I don't want anyone to be like, what does alignment even mean? They keep saying that word. So it's good for us to break it down, talk through some times when we were in alignment, out of alignment, and make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and a great analogy is like when you think about when you get your tires aligned, it's like if you have three tires that are in alignment and then one is just off like a couple centimeters, it's going to do a lot of damage to that tire. And then guess what? You can't just buy two tires, you have to buy four. It's like this whole scam setup thing. But I mean, it might not actually be a scam, but I like what Karen said, it's feeling that something is off. And so that's like you might be dreading something, you might be avoiding something, but basically, like, just not feeling in the flow, feeling like you have to force stuff, and I think it can be confusing for entrepreneurs too, because a lot of what we have to do is we're creating as we're going, and we're in uncharted waters, and so we don't know if we're working on the right stuff. But I think it is like what you said about the values, like, bringing it back to what your values are, that's a good litmus test. Yeah. What's what's coming up for you?
One of the things that just popped into my head is like when you talked about avoiding, it's like sometimes procrastination can be really masking misalignment, right? Like maybe it's not that you're not being lazy, you're not because it'll send you down a guilt and a shame spiral when you're avoiding stuff. So it is important to like just attack it. Like, why is it that I wrote this thing to do, 20 weeks ago and it's still on my list and I haven't touched it? Um, And a lot of times it can be that it's out of alignment. Like it's not actually gonna get you to the goals that you truly want in your heart of hearts, in your, the values that you've set. So you're not taking those actions because it's not really what you want to do. And so, coming to terms with that so that you can think about the goals that are in alignment and then take the actions that are going to lead to what you actually want is important, because a lot of times procrastination will be masking some misaligned activity that if you don't unpack it, you're just going to stay in a spiral of, oh, I shoulda, I coulda, I woulda, why didn't I'm lazy, I'm frustrated. I mean, it's not a good place to be. So it's really important, if you're avoiding something, to think about what is the reason. Because if the reason is that it's not something that you actually want to do, then you need to work on that. If it's something you do want and it is in alignment and you're not doing it, there's probably some other things. Maybe the chunks are too big, the steps, you don't know all the steps, you feel like you need to see the whole staircase and you haven't mapped out the actions. That's all the kind of things you can work on with a coach. But it's really important to just not don't stay in that avoidance area, because then you're just going to stay in a cycle of a swirl that is not helpful and it's not going to move you forward.
I love that you touched on guilt and shame because those two emotions can really wreak such havoc on your mental state. Sorry, I can't even say it without like my throat closing up because it's like, yeah, I think whenever we start to do that, that's when we start to avoid or like even over obligation, like saying yes to certain things, committing to certain things because we feel bad because we're not doing enough. Ryan or Ryan Sheehan Ice? Really? Okay. He's probably gonna call back. Anyway, I told him we were recording a podcast. So, I am glad that you touched on that because those emotions, I feel like they're the strongest, and they're the ones that can do the most damage too. It's like, you know what's a great emotion? Joy. And how often do we feel that? Not often. I want more joy. I want more joy. And being in alignment will bring more joy. Being in flow, doing what you're supposed to be doing, focusing on your strengths and the gifts that you have, the things that come natural to you, that's where you want to head. That's where you want to spend your time and energy. And that's where you're going to make the biggest impact. So, um, feeling resentful even when money's coming in. So that was like that client I had. The money's coming in and everything, but yeah, like resentment, that's a big one. Like feeling like I have to do this and, I'm getting paid for it and everything, and yeah, that's a good one. Alright, what are some other signs that you're out of alignment that you can think of, Karen?
Oh my gosh, that resentment one is a huge one. Because it's just not a good feeling when you have money coming in. Because then again, you'll go down a guilt and shame spiral of, I should be grateful, I should be happy, this should be good, and yet I hate it. So that's such an important one. Just like losing excitement for your business is a big one. Like if you're kind of finding like that you're just like not really feeling it, and you're like, oh my god, like do I just want to close my business? Like it probably is just that you're pursuing a path that's not in alignment. And so that kind of happened to me with the agency that I started in 2020, maybe I can't remember when it was, but I think it was 2020. I was like, this is great. I mean, it's very easy for me. Like, I do things that I think are easy for me. And I'm like, oh, I should do a business based on this. No, I shouldn't. So it's like, is it going to move me forward towards my goals? Is it really like, does it come from a value that I have? Like, those are the questions you ask when you want to start a business, not, oh, I'm good at this. Let me do a business. So, I started that agency, and again, love the work, and I had great clients. I mean, I was very happy when I saw those invoices get paid. However, one of my values is having some freedom and some time and putting my lifestyle first. And the agency was doing the opposite, right? I was literally glued to my computer because I'm building funnels, I'm writing copy, I'm setting all the tech up, I'm like doing all the things, I'm meeting with people on Zoom. I was like, I'm about to throw this computer out the window. Like, and then I had to unpack that. Okay, why? do I want to throw my computer out the window? And so that's where and then I kind of quietly sunset, no fanfare. I mean, I still get inquiries here and there, and I just write back like, I can tell you where to find someone because it's not me. But you have to think about that type of stuff too. Like, it really is like if your business is kind of like, if you're just not that excited about it, it might not be close the business. I still have my coaching business too, which is why, the agency wasn't my only thing. But you have to think about that. Like, if it's not exciting you, it's probably not in alignment.
Yeah. Talking about this has brought up, and this wasn't something we discussed before, but it made me think about that job I had and how, like, one of my values is honesty and integrity. Like, that's not one, I guess that's two. But some of my values are honesty and integrity. And I was very aligned with the position I was in, but then I overheard somebody taking credit for like a relationship that I had started with the sponsor. And at that moment, like it was just like it was a break. It wasn't even a crack. And I was like, I no longer can trust this person. And I had to deal with all the mental drama of that because, like, it's not even like a partnership, like, our partnership or a client or whatever. Like, this was an employer, and a supervisor. That's another thing too, is like being in alignment with the people that you are working with. That's huge because, like, if you lose that respect or you feel like unsafe and that you're not going to be protected or you're not going to, like, it affects your work. I don't know what you were saying, but that just came up and I was like, "Oh, yeah. Like, you gotta be aligned with the work you're doing, you have to be aligned with the people that you're working with." Yeah, and little plug, I mean, we'll talk about it a bit later, but the Success Secret Society, we do have an application. So, like, anybody that joins does have to actually fill out, a membership application, and that's part of it is because, like, to have this community, it'll be a safe, structured environment where people can share openly, and people have to be aligned, and yeah, that I don't know where that came from, Karen, but I'm glad it came out.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that did too, because it is important. The people. I mean, that makes me think of even in like the corporate, like 9 to 5 world, like there's a quote that people don't quit jobs, they quit bosses. You know what I mean? Like it's people, like that, a big part of everything that you're gonna feel and what you're gonna be motivated to actually do comes from the people you're around. And that, so I'm glad you brought that in because that's important too.
Thank you. Let's talk about when you are in alignment, what that looks like. I feel like that looks like and feels like you feel safe, you feel warm and cozy, and you feel like you're being propelled forward by something, like either like maybe it's faith or maybe it's synchronous. By the way, we're recording in the afternoon, so like the coffee has worn off. Like this is just like nap time, Marcia and Karen. So this should be pretty funny. It might get a little a little whatever. It might get more like this. But yeah, synchronicities and God winks. Those are whenever I'm in alignment and whenever I'm starting something new, like the universe literally puts things in front of my face and it's pretty awesome. So I love that. What are some other ways that you can think of?
Definitely when you are like in alignment, you get into that momentum. And it feels like everything is lining up. Everything, like you said, the synchronicity, and you're seeing the signs, and you feel good taking the action, and you don't have any of those like negative, no dread. Like you're just like you're in a groove. You got your mojo going. Like all of that is alignment. And that's what happens when you're in alignment. Like things just seem to work out. You seem to be focused. You're doing the things you said you were going to do. It's a miracle. It does not happen all the time for me. I understand how exciting it can be when you're like, "Ooh, I wrote a to do and it's to done." Ooh, ooh, it's like celebration. So that's really what alignment is. It's not that big of a thing. Like if you like you hear about it so much and it's like you're looking for it to be like some separate like huge thing. Like it's just you being in flow, doing what you said you wanted to do. Having those little check-ins with yourself if things are getting off track, and just really your goals are becoming reality because you said you wanted to do it. It's in alignment with your values. You're taking action that is going to get you there, and then things are happening. Like there's no way you're not going to get the result. Like obviously there could be hiccups, you could have offers that flop, maybe the launch didn't go exactly how you thought. I mean, that's not what alignment is. The alignment is that you know your values, you have clarity on what you want, you set goals, you took action to make those goals reality. Like you have to focus on your effort when you're thinking about alignment. It might not always be the result, but your effort is in alignment. That's where you want to put your energy.
I find in my life that the biggest lessons that I get are from the struggle, like when I'm on the struggle bus and I can look back on it. So whenever you're not in alignment, it helps you to point out like this feels wrong because it's going against something. So it can, those things can be triggered by being disaligned. And it was funny when you were saying that, it was like, you're like, things just start to line up. And I'm like, align, ALINE. Like I saw the word, like things just start to line up and things get so much, it's like the whole domino effect, like things get so much easier, it feels like, because you're not forcing, you're letting things happen, you're not questioning it. And that's not to say that, because we had this conversation before we hit record, I'm always mapping my menstrual cycle because I have PMDD, and so I have to track, which it's real fun when you're in perimenopause because it's all over the map. But like I look at hormones too, like if I'm not sleeping right, so life is never going to be perfectly perfect, even if you are in alignment. So sometimes there are going to be psychological, physiological issues that are happening. But I feel like when you're in complete disalignment, that's when things kind of start to fall off. That's when one tire just kind of goes into the curb while the other three are going straight. So just keep that in mind. Like, yeah, like Karen was saying, you know, it's never like it what did you say? Did you say it, like, won't be perfect, but it's just things are easier? Is
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not about it being perfect. It's just about your effort being what you actually want to be putting effort into.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And another thing, I don't know why this popped into my head, but another benefit of alignment is it helps you avoid shiny object syndrome because you things will always be coming at you, right? There's always going to be opportunities, there's always going to be new ways of marketing, new offers you could put out, new things, all the stuff. But when you're like really you're clear on your goals, you know that this is what you want, you're doing the things in alignment with that, like you can easily block out noise because you're not missing out on nothing. Remember, everything works. It all is good. You can make a good strategy out of just about anything. So it's like, what is the strategy that I want to follow, that I want to do? And when you like know that and you've dialed it in and you're focused, like you can just tune out everything else, which is very hard in the online business world, like super hard. So that's like your super weapon against that shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that because 'cause I've been seeing a lot about, like, Instagram and the algorithm and everything, and I think we are in a huge shift where people no longer want to be sold information, people wanna be sold how to activate. Like, we're in an activation environment now, like, people are like, "I already have all the information, I need you to tell me how to actually do the things that I know I need to do." When you know what it is that you wanna do and you take a line to action, then it just doors open for you, it's magical. The universe has your back.
Yeah, that's manifestation. That's all the we're not too woo woo here, but we do have some woo essence. So, but that's really what manifestation is. People like think like, okay, so I'm just gonna make up goals and I'm gonna think about them real hard and then they magically appear. No, But that's part of it. Yeah, you make the goals, they're in alignment with your values, you're really clear on what you want, and then your effort and action that you're taking is in alignment with that. And then magic happens. That's literally what manifestation is. It's not really that woo if you think about it.
The book that I've been reading since November, it's all about metaphysics and everything. So that is like, yeah, that's Florence Scovel Shinn. The book was written in 1925. She self-published. She was a divorcee. Yeah, like this book it's good, but it talks about basically like the subconscious and the thoughts that we have and everything and how that creates our reality. And so there's so much research too on just the neural pathways and all of that, like how thoughts they get ingrained and but there is neuroplasticity. They say that your brain can change and evolve up until the day you die. So I think we're at a cool time. I think we're in a good time right now. But anyway, that's my I'm not woo, but I'm extremely woo. So
I love
we
it.
just we just don't talk about it too often because it's easier to talk about strategy, right?
It is so much easier. So I think when this comes out, I mean, right now we just started a challenge. We're so excited about the summer reset challenge. It's 7 days. And really, the whole goal is if you have been feeling out of alignment, that challenge is designed to help you get clarity on what you actually want, not what all the other noise tells you to want, but what you actually want, and then get into action. Like we actually have some action built in because we're like, it's not just getting clear, you got to take some action. So definitely there's still an opportunity to join that if if you haven't signed up yet, we'd love to have you in there.
Yes, we would love to have you join us on the 7-day challenge. If you reach out, you'll get Monday's prompt and then today's prompt. And then once the challenge is done, we'll be inviting people to apply to join the Success Secret Society. I'm so excited. Oh, Karen, it's going to be so great. I just love the idea of building this community right now because that's what we do and feels in alignment, obviously. But I think we could use some community, some positive community, and just move things forward.
Absolutely. And if you aren't joining us for the challenge, I'm crying a little bit about that, but it's fine. We'll get over it. DM us at on is it Honest Combos 8, I think. The letter the not number 8, not letter 8. Do they have letter numbers? No, we don't have those yet. So yeah, at the number 8, Honest Combos 8 on Instagram cuz we would love to just hear like your kind of ahas or just share whatever insights you're getting from the episode. We really love to interact with our listeners and have you be a part of our social media community, even if you don't join the challenge or the society. So let us know how the podcasts are landing for you. We'd love to hear about it. Hey friend, loving this combo?
Then don't keep it to yourself.
Hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling extra generous,
Leave us a quick review. It helps more women find the show, and it honestly means the world to us.
and we really want to connect beyond the podcast. So come say hi on social.